Hey everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. I am doing a March Hashimoto's update for you. So last night I was doing my vitamin pill containers. I do these once a week on Sundays. At the moment it's Sunday. Sometimes I get off a day, but so after my Sunday afternoon, midday vitamin regimen, this whole thing is empty and I go through and I sit on the floor and fill it up with what I need for morning and afternoon. My PM medication, I keep separate in a box in my nightstand, so I remember to do it. So I was doing this last night and double checking my notes because as things change at least once a month, and I always have a kind of nerdy. I have an Excel spreadsheet where I keep it. So I was double checking my notes and I realized that because something had changed, I hadn't given you guys any kind of update on what had changed and how the month of March went. So I will do that now. In the month of March, early on, I had reached, and I will link my February Hashimoto's update here so that you can see a little bit about what drove this. So I reached out to my doctor at the beginning of March and I told him that I was really struggling with a lot of stress. My father had passed away in February and just a lot of things going on. I was getting those afternoon feelings of, it feels kind of like low blood sugar, but I recognize it as being an adrenal related thing. A lot of the times I can head off the weird symptoms by having, strangely enough, a glass of salt water. There's something about salt, it must be an early symptom is that maybe my salt, sodium, and potassium levels get a little off kilter. If I wait too long though, what happens is I just completely crash and I go into almost can't keep my eyeballs open and have to either lay down or, just close my eyes for 10 minutes. And I don't like to do that. I obviously want to keep going in the afternoon. So, but I was really struggling. So I reached out to him and he bumped my cortisol up in order to support my adrenals in a time of what was really tough stress. I had been at 10 milligrams a day. He bumped me up to 12.5 milligrams a day, and it was split. I took 7.5 in the morning, and then I took 5 in the afternoon. And it seemed to be fine. I wasn't feeling the same kind of symptoms. I still had a little bit here and there in the afternoons of that weird, internal trembling, shaky kind of thing. Again, could head it off with a small glass of salt water. But much to my surprise, my period, Aunt Flo, showed up almost 5 days early at the end of March, early part of April. I don't know the exact date, but whenever the cycle was. And it was horrendous. I was not expecting it to start that soon. So 5 days in advance of when I thought it was going to start, I was having some of the worst PMS I have had since I went back on this whole regimen last May. I was moody, I was bitchy, I was rude to my family, I was horrible. I was shocked at my behavior. It was just awful. And then my period started, and it started early, and I was like, holy cow, what's wrong with this? And the cramps and the bloating, just all of the symptoms were just, oh no, not doing this again. So I reached out to my doctor at the beginning of, or whenever that cycle was. I'm looking at the calendar because today's the 11th. I guess it was maybe a week ago, and said, no, not doing this again. And I told the nurse, of course I go through the nurse and the nurse consults with the doctor. The only thing that had changed in March was the cortisol. So my question was, should I back off of that? And yes, that was the recommendation, is to go back to the 10 milligrams a day and see what this next cycle is like. Now, if it's still, I'm still having, and I have been having issues with PMS and some moodiness. We've been kind of bumping up progesterone a little bit. I don't know if it needs to go up in order to combat the symptoms, or maybe the symptoms are going to get better now that the cortisol has been reduced back down. For those of you who don't know, I'm a firm believer in some of the research I've read about the Hypopituitary Axis, which is where your adrenals and your pituitary and the thyroid are all kind of connected. I'll put a couple of links down in the description bar if you want to read a little bit more. I am still trying to work through it. I'm still on 4.25 grains of bioidentical natural desiccated thyroid. I still do the 150 milligrams of progesterone on days 15 through 28. I do 50 in the morning and 100 at night. I'm back to doing 10 milligrams of cortisol as of last week every day. And then I'm still doing the testosterone. I'm not sure the exact milligrams on that. I take that morning and night. And then, of course, all my other supplements. So I'm not unhappy with where I am, particularly given that before I went back into this regimen in May of 2015, I was a lot worse off than I am now. But I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated with just how long it's taking, I guess, to get the wrinkles out of it. It doesn't help that there's been some tremendous stresses in my life. I'm hoping that some things smooth out and get better. They will, but I just thank the good Lord above for a very understanding family. And I don't know what I'd do without them and their support. So that's a little bit about what's happening with me and my Hashimoto's and all the other things that go along with it. I appreciate you watching. If you like what you see, be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will talk to you later. Thanks.